An event aimed at rallying voters prior to Election Day is slated to take place tomorrow afternoon here in Jamestown. Joining us on the show to talk more about that and to follow up following last week's Assembly debate is Democratic candidate Christina Cardinelli. Ms. Cardinelli, thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So tomorrow at 4 o'clock at Brooklyn Square, Tim Hortons, you're joining others in the community for a Get Out the Vote rally. What do you hope to achieve at that event?
Really, it's general awareness. We will have literature on all of the candidates, including myself. You are more than welcome to join us if you are rallying for a particular candidate, if you have a favorite, if you'd like to find out more information. Personally, I am attending because I would really like the opportunity to put myself in the public and speak with anyone who is interested in my campaign. I would absolutely not say that this event is entirely for Democrats only. If you are a Republican, come by. If you're an independent, if you're a libertarian, come by. We want you there. We want you to meet the candidates, and I want you to meet me. And I would love to speak with you personally and have the opportunity to really have a conversation and listen. And I live for that. That's what I like doing. So do not feel like you cannot come by if you're not a Democrat. That's absolutely not true.
And many times, no more than 50% of qualified voters actually go to the polls. In your eyes, what can be done to try to increase participation?
I would say general awareness and education is very important, and that is an endeavor that doesn't necessarily need to start around election time. That I think it kind of backfires when you're pushing to get the vote out, make sure you're registered, make sure you're educated right around election time. That should be an all the time type of event, and pushing general awareness and voter education and registration, excuse me, should be all the time. It should be 24/7. There should be groups dedicated to doing that.
Now, this year, there's a lot different when it comes to voting. COVID-19 has changed so much. And there's a lot of concerns too. Are you worried that mail-in voting, which is different than absentee voting, has the potential for fraud and mishandling? And if so, is there any safeguard that we can implement against that?
I would absolutely say that I am not worried at all about Chautauqua County. I am very in communication with the Board of Elections in Chautauqua County. They do a fantastic job. They are very, very organized. And the most important thing to remember about the Chautauqua County Board of Elections, they are organized in a bipartisan manner. So you have a Democrat who's in charge, you have a Republican who's in charge. They work together. There is no one-sidedness. Everything is very equal. Everyone has an opportunity to weigh in and analyze everything. So there's really no room for any type of fraud or any type of suppression, anything like that. I can absolutely tell you that if you live in Chautauqua County, as long as you are mailing your ballot with significant time for it to arrive, just because I know the mail is a little delayed, as long as you mail it in time, I really do not believe that there will be any type of issue that voters have to worry about. And that's very important right now for anyone who needs to be safe or needs to not be in public. And we want to make that as easy as possible.
Now, in your own campaign, your debate last week with your opponent brought a lot of social media attention, and we noticed that there were some critics out there who said that you came off as being rude or arrogant. How do you respond to that?
I would, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. There have been some negative comments, but I can assure you that when you love something the way that I do, the way that I love Chautauqua County, you fight for it. And that's what I was doing. I was fighting for this county. I was fighting for the people. And I've said this since the beginning, I was fighting for transparency. I was fighting for accountability. I was fighting to assert myself in the position that I want to be the people's representative. And I care about the people and I care about this county. when you have that much passion and you are dedicated to that mission, you fight for what you love.
Is it hard to take some of that criticism? I know we've talked before where you had people early on in your campaign who really went on the attack on your social media pages. Is that a hard thing to have to deal with, or did you expect that coming into the race?
No, it's really not hard because when you go into anything where you are a public figure, you have to assume that it's going to happen. There will always be criticism. There will always be someone who disagrees with what you're saying or your approach. But I would like to open up the conversation field of, I promise, if you sit down and you talk to me, you will realize that I care about you. Doesn't matter political affiliation, doesn't matter, we are people, we are human beings. So I absolutely take the opportunity as much as I can to really sit down with people. Tell me why you were critical. Tell me why you don't like this. I think that if we can connect as people, it'll be a little less, there'll be a less of a disconnect because I think that I can show people that I truly do, in fact, care.
So at this point in the race, what do you have to say to some of our viewers who maybe may not be thinking about voting this fall, or if they are and still feel undecided on the races? What's your message?
Absolutely. Please vote. Please vote. And whenever I speak with anyone, especially younger people, I like to reiterate the point that people have died for your right to vote. There has been so much suffering for the right to vote for women, the right to vote in general. And I absolutely need to make sure that I'm stressing that you vote this election year. Do I want you to vote for me? Yes, absolutely, I do. But I want you to vote in general. I want you to educate yourself, pick the candidate that you think would best represent you, and express your right to vote because that is a sacred right as an American. And I want everyone to be able to do that. And I want everyone to feel encouraged to do that.
All right, Assembly candidate Christina Cardinelli joining us on the show today. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate coming to us with the conversation.